Good morning, ladies. Welcome to Women's Wednesday. My name is Stephanie, and I'm so excited to be taking part of your day today. I want to just give you a little tidbit of what God's been showing me over the since we talked last. I just got back from the beach, and who doesn't love a vacation from the beach? I mean, it is my husband says, like, it's the place where I come alive. I get up early. I go. I thrive on sunshine. I can sit there until the sun comes up and the sun goes down. I was so excited that my last day I got like almost a full 12 hours just on the beach. I got up early and went out, and it was just amazing. And I felt so refreshed. And then I come home and I get on Facebook and I start checking out, what's been going on in the world since we left. And you always hope that today's going to be the day where peace is going to reign. Today is going to be the day where I'm going to see more kindness than, unkindness. And I'm going to see more love than hate. And I'm going to see people choosing to love one another. And it's so disheartening to get on Facebook and see what has become of the world. And throughout my time at the beach and throughout the past, 6 weeks or so, I've really been asking the Lord, the world is screaming for a change. The world is screaming for change. And I've been questioning, how do we get there? Is it a leadership change? Is it a political change? Is it a church change? I'm not God, and thank goodness I am not God, because I'm overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed by how to make this change. How do we put prejudices and injustices aside and truly love the way Christ has called us to love? Because at the root of my heart, in the very depths of my heart, is sin. It's sin. And I read post after post, and I see people's actions, and I hear people's words, and I instantly judge. And I begin to question why they're doing what they're doing. What do they hope to accomplish? And at the end of the day, God has spoke one clear thing into my heart. I need to love, not judge. I've got to love first before I can judge. I've got to love first. Because, Stephanie, your righteousness, your judgment cannot be righteous. Your anger cannot be righteous, because you, my sweet child, are a sinful woman. Now you have my son's righteousness, but until you reach heaven, you are still tainted by sin, and so therefore are all of my judgments. And so the one thing that I have had to ask God to do is to give me his eyes to see, one, my own sin for what it is. Because really, can we help someone else before we helped ourselves? No, we cannot. We cannot teach a lesson that we have not learned ourselves. And the other thing that I have been asking is that in those moments, God, what can I do? What can I do in my today to change my tomorrow? Because if I try to look at everything as a whole, it is too overwhelming. I have to sit back and look for his vision and his sight on the things that I have to do, that I'm responsible for. And I have to trust that you're doing the same thing, that you're looking to what you have to do, that you're responsible for. But the only way we can do that is to have his eyes and his heart and his mind and his love, because God is love. I want to read a verse of scripture to you real quick. It's found in John chapter 13, if you want to read along, verse 34 and 35. And this is when Jesus is speaking to his disciples when they're at the Last Supper and he's getting ready to be arrested and crucified. That's what's down the pipe. And so he speaks to them and he says, "A new commandment I give you." And he's talking to his disciples, his 12 disciples right there in that room. "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, just as I have loved you, you are also to love one another. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. So we just got back from the beach, and one of my favorite things to do since my nanny has passed away is look for what I call nanny shells. She called them roly-polies, and it's this little shell that she would search for hours for and find bags and bags of them. She always took a grocery bag, a plastic grocery bag, and she would fill that thing full of these shells. And I watched her for years do this, and I would come up to her and I would, stand by her and watch, and she would tell me how to do it. And she was like, Stephanie, you've got to stand right here where the shoreline is, right where the water's breaking, right where the shells are rolling away. And this is what you want to look for. And you don't want to really look for this, but you want to watch the shells as they roll. The flat shells will lay still, and these shells will roll on top. And she said, you have to move very quickly when you see them. You want to get them right when the bubbles kind of disappear before the next wave rolls in. When it pulls back, that's when you want to find them. So you had to look in a certain way at a certain time with the right angle and know what to look for. And these were the shells that she would find. She calls them roly-polies. But when she passed away, we started calling them nanny shells. And whenever we found one, we'd come back and show the whole family, I found a nanny shell. And I never got to find a nanny shell. It was so frustrating to me that I was never able to find a nanny shell. And so she passed away in 98. And I didn't really put the time and effort into it that it took to find a nanny shell when she was alive because, well, it just didn't matter. I mean, it mattered, but it didn't matter like it did when she was gone. And, every time somebody found one, they'd say, oh, I feel like Nanny's right here with me, or, oh, I feel that she's so close. And I thought, I don't want to feel that she's close. I mean, I did feel that she was close, but I wanted my own thing to hold on to. And so I started looking, and I started trying to remember exactly all the things that she told me and where I needed to be and how I needed to stand and what I needed to do. And so I say all that to say this, that this summer I reached my mark. Almost 30 years later, no, 20 years later, sorry, I've made myself way older. Almost 20 years since she's passed, I found a whole, half a bag, well, kind of half a bag, but not really, a bag of nanny shells. And I was so excited because I felt like she was right there. And then it hit me while I was walking on the beach. Stephanie, this is exactly what you need to do with the people I put in your path. I passed hundreds of people that last week on the beach, out places, going here to there. And it was the first day that I found the nanny shell that God he pricked my heart. And he said, honey, just like you found this shell, you went where your nanny went, you did what she did, you looked at what she saw, and you learned from her. And your patience has given its way to progress, right? A product, an end product. I had a result. And so I asked God, I was like, and he said to me, or I felt like he said to me, he didn't speak to me, but I felt in my heart, just like he was right there with me, I need you to look for my people. I need you to look for those that need my love. And I don't want you to judge them. I want you to just love them. And I'm going to highlight them to you. I'm going to show you who they are. And every day throughout the week, I would see one person here and one person there. And I would talk to them or pray with them or just love on them a little bit, just enjoying life. And it was so easy while we were there. And I came home and life happened in my own home. And I felt like God was telling me then, I need you to love your children and not judge them. I need you to just show them that you love them and not judge them. I need you to love your husband and not judge him. I know his heart. I know his motives. You may know him well, but I know him better. You may know your children well, but I know them better. And so, ladies, I say this to end it. We are called to a higher calling in our homes. We are the temperature, so to speak, of our home. And it frustrates me to hear that, because it is too much pressure that if I'm not where I need to be, then my family stumbles. But it's so true. It's so true. I've watched my children during this pandemic and during this quarantine time, and I've seen more of myself in them than I ever cared to see. But it has shown me what I need to do different and how I need to live different. And I need to love them and not judge them. And I need to love them as Christ has loved me, by sacrificing myself for them, by making myself uncomfortable, by getting up on the times that it's inconvenient to do. You've just sat down. You don't want to get up and serve your family, but that's what we're called to do. And so I just challenge you that as you go throughout your day, will you look for the nanny shells? Will you allow God the ability to look into your heart and your life? Will we allow God the ability to look into our hearts and our lives and see things as He sees them? That our job is to love them first, because no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Have a good week, ladies.